Rule number 1, never lose money. Rule number 2, never forget rule number 1.
The trick in investing is just to sit there and watch pitch after pitch go by and wait for the one right in your sweet spot. And if people are yelling, swing you bum, ignore them.
There's a temptation for people to act far too frequently in stocks simply because they're so liquid. Over the years, you develop a lot of filters. And I do know what I call my circle of competence. So I stay within that circle, and I don't worry about things that are outside that circle. Defining what your game is, where you're going to have an edge, is enormously important.
I think you should look for the job that you would want to hold if you didn't need a job. I mean, you're probably only going to live once. And you don't want to go sleepwalking through life. And you really, whether you make X or 120% of X, it really isn't remotely as important as to whether, in most cases, you marry the right person and you also find something that you would do if you didn't need the money. So look for the job that turns you on. Find a passion. Investing in yourself is the best thing you can do. Anything that improves your own talents. Like, nobody can take it away from you. They can run up huge deficits and the dollar can become worth far less. You can have all kinds of things happen. But if you've got talent yourself and you've maximized your talent, you've got a terrific asset. And so that doesn't mean everybody should go to college, but it does mean that any way you find to improve, communication skills are enormously important. I mean, I took a Dale Carnegie course that I paid $100 for, and it was worth a college degree. At least I thought it was. Maybe this interview will convince people otherwise. Find something that you really enjoy doing if you can do it. And not everybody's lucky enough to be able to find that, but it ought to be your goal. To make $10 a week more doing something that you don't feel good about compared to something you feel good about, make the change. It gave me a big advantage to start very young.
Best way to become a millionaire?
Well, the best way to do it is to be born into a family where you're going to
Best way to be a self-made millionaire?
figure out what your strengths are and then pick the right people and don't be afraid of making mistakes.
What's the best investment someone can make?
Well, you invest in yourself. Can't take away what's up. The best moat you can have is your own talent. I mean, they can't take it away from you. Inflation can't take it from you. Taxes can't take it from you. So when I talk to students, I would pay you $100,000 to the MBAs for 10% of the earnings for the rest of your life. So that makes you $1 million asset. Now, if you can do something to increase that value 50%, if you can learn to communicate better verbally or in written form, and you become 50% more, that's $500,000 just by improving yourself. I mean, nobody can take that away from you. It's very important to surround yourself with people that are better than you are. You are going to move in the direction of the people you associate with. So I advise you to seek out, as your partner in business, your partner in life, whatever it may be, look for the people that actually are examples to you rather than somebody that you think you need to straighten out yourself. What gives you opportunities is other people doing dumb things. Well, the 58 years we've been running Berkshire, I would say there's been a great increase in the number of people doing dumb things, and they do big dumb things, and the reason they do it to some extent is because they can get money from other people so much easier. The world changing or new things coming along don't take away the opportunities, but the big money is in selling other people ideas. It isn't outperforming. I think if you don't run too much money, which we do, but if you're running small amounts of money, I think the opportunities will be greater. It's the two things you can't buy, time and love, and that I value those for a long time, and I've been very, very, very lucky in life in being able to control my own time to extreme degree. Charlie's always valued that too. That's why we really wanted to have money, so we could do what we damn pleased in our life. It wasn't 6 houses or boats or anything. Well, Charlie's got a boat, but it doesn't do us that much good. But time is valuable, and that's and so we've got it very good. But we don't have unlimited time, and whatever we do to free up the time to do what we like to do, and we both maximize that in our lives, we do.
Anybody's lucky if he gets so that what he spends his time at he really likes doing. That's a blessing.
know, we've had so much good luck in life. It sort of blows your mind. It's starting with being born in the United States. And 90% of the people that buy stocks don't think of them the right way. They hope it goes up next week. And if it's down, they feel worse. I feel better. I think about what the company's going to be worth 10 or 20 years from now. And I hope it goes down when I buy it because I'll buy more. You don't need to be a genius in what I do. I'm a bright guy who's terribly interested in what he does. So I've spent a lifetime doing it, and I've surrounded myself with people that bring out the best in me. But I am in a game. You probably need 120 points of IQ, you know. But 170 doesn't do any better than 120. It may do worse, probably do worse, but you don't really need brains.
What do you need?
You need the right orientation.
It just takes time. I mean, it's the nature of compound interest, and you know, you can't build it in one day or 1 week. So Charlie and I have, we've never tried to do in some master stroke. We've sort of felt that if we kept doing what we understood, did it consistently, and had fun while we were doing it, we have done, in a general way, we've done the same thing. Now we do little variations of it, but we kept doing the same thing for years, and we'll keep doing it. You know, focus has always been a strong part of my personality. If I get interested in something, I get really interested. If I get interested in a new subject, I want to read about it, I want to talk about it, and I want to meet people that are involved in it. I can't tell you the color of the walls in my bedroom or my living room. I don't have a mind that relates to the physical universe well, but the business universe, I think I understand reasonably well. I like to sit and think, and I spent a lot of time doing that, and sometimes it's pretty unproductive, but I find it enjoyable to think about, particularly about business or investment problems. They're easy. It's the human problems that are the tough ones. Sometimes there aren't any good answers with human problems. There's almost always a good answer with them. You get a few breaks in life in terms of people you will meet who will just change your life dramatically. You need a handful of those. And when you get them, you treasure them. Some of them you want to turn pretty fast, but you just get lucky in life. And you want to take advantage of your luck. It's more important in terms of what's on your inner scorecard than your outer scorecard. I mean, some people get in a position where they're thinking all of the time of what the world's going to think of this or that instead of what they themselves think about. And if your inner scorecard, if you're comfortable with that, I think you're going to have a pretty happy life. And I think the people that strive too much for the outer scorecard sometimes find that it's a little hollow when they get all through. I actually was not keen on going to college myself. Yeah, my dad kind of jollied me into it. He could get me to do anything. But if they'd had an SAT test in those days, he would have taken the test for me. But I liked investing, and I didn't really feel I could read the books. I think depending on what your interests are in life, I don't think it's for everybody. I think it's for a lot of people. But there ought to be a reason you're going. In determining whether you succeed, there's more to it than intellect and energy, and I'd like to talk for just a second about that. In fact, 3 things in hiring people: look for integrity, intelligence, and energy. If that person didn't have the first 2, that the latter 2 would kill them. Because if they don't have integrity, you want them dumb and lazy. You don't want them smart and energetic. Someone once said the chains of habit are too light to be felt until they're too heavy to be broken. And I see that all the time. I see people with habit patterns that are self-destructive when they're 50 or 60, and they really can't change them. They're imprisoned by that. But you're not imprisoned by anything. So when you write down the qualities of that person that you'd like to buy 10% of, look at that list and ask yourself, is there anything on that list I couldn't do? The answer is there won't be. And when you look at the person you sell short, and you look at those qualities that you don't like, if you see any of those in yourself, egotism, whatever, maybe selfishness, you can get rid of that. I mean, that is not ordained. And if you follow that, and Ben Franklin did this, and my old boss Ben Graham did this at early ages in their young teens. Ben Graham looked around and he said, who do I admire? And he wanted to be admired himself, and he said, why do I admire these other people? And he said, if I admire them for these reasons, maybe other people will admire me if I behave in a similar manner. And he decided what kind of a person he wanted to be. And if you follow that, at the end, you'll be the person you want to buy 10% of. I mean, that's the goal in the end. And you'll want a marriage that's going to last. Not necessarily the happiest marriage, or one that... What quality do you look for in a spouse? One quality. Do you look for brains? Do you look for humor? Do you look for character? Do you look for beauty? No. You look for low expectations. I mean, that is the marriage that's going to last. Both have low expectations.
We made a lot of money, but what we really wanted was independence. We could associate with people that we wanted to associate with. If we associated with jerks, that was our problem, but we didn't have to. We've had that luxury now for 60 years or close to it, and that beats 25-room houses and 6 cars. That stuff is, what really is great is if you can do what you want to do in life and associate with the people you want to associate with in life. And
Possible. Look for the job that you would take if you didn't need a job. I mean, don't sleepwalk through life, and don't say it's all going to be great. I'll do this and I'll do that, and I'm just marking time to be older. So I've told people that's like saving up sex for your old age. I mean, it is not a good idea. Yeah, you really want to be doing what you love doing, and you can't necessarily find it on your first job, right? But don't give up before you find it.
make the most of the people you meet that are going to make you a better person, and probably forget about the rest to quite an extent. There's one rule we learned a long time ago, is that you can't make a good deal with a bad person. Just forget it. Now, if you think you can drop a contract that is going to work against a bad person, they're going to win. For one thing, they probably enjoy litigation, but Berkshire Hathaway as an entity, or me personally, or anything, we don't want to spend our life, doing that sort of thing. And besides, the bad guys win. They know more games. They may lose eventually, but it's no way to spend your life.
I met Bill Gates on July 5th, 1991. We were out in Seattle, and Bill said, "You've got to have a computer." And I said, "Why?" And he said, "You can do your income tax on it." I said, "I don't have any income. Berkshire doesn't pay a dividend." He said, "Well, you can keep track of your portfolio." And I said, "I only have one stock." I said, and he says, "It's going to change everything." And I said, "Well, will it change whether people chew gum?" And he said, "Well, probably not." And I said, "Well, will it change what kind of gum they chew?" And I said, "Well, then I'll stick to chewing gum and you stick to computers." I don't have to understand all kinds of business. There's all kinds of business I don't understand. But there's thousands of opportunities there. I did understand the Bank of America. So I can wait there and look at thousands of companies day after day. And only when I see something I understand, and when I like the price at which it's selling. You may have an entirely different field of expertise than I would have, and probably much more up to date in terms of the kind of businesses that we're seeing evolve. And you can get very rich if you just understand a few of them and understand their future.
I just have a lot of fun doing my job. I am doing what I love to do with people I love, and it doesn't get any better than that, Judy. But I should be. I mean, why in the hell should I be working at 86 at something that I don't like, or with people I don't like? Secret is to find what you love to do. I was lucky enough to find it very early in life. And then the second thing is to have people around you that make you feel good every day and make you a better person than you otherwise would be. I have more fun doing this than anything else I can think of in the world. So you want to have the right heroes, and you don't have to have them. It's not the heroes based on what they've accomplished. It's the people that you want to be yourself. If you copy the right people, you're off to a great start. And I don't mean a great start about making money. I mean a great start about living your life. You don't want to be a no emotion person in all of your life.
You don't need a lot of brains in this business. I mean, I've always said if you got an IQ of 160, give away 30 points to somebody else, because you don't need it in investments. What you do need is emotional stability. You have to be able to think independently, and you have to be, when you come to a conclusion, you have to really not care what other people say, and just follow the facts and follow your reasoning.
Anytime stocks go down, as far as I'm concerned, I like it, because I'm a net buyer of stocks. I've been buying stocks ever
since I was 11 years old. So when stocks go down, it's good news. Just like when hamburgers go down, it's good news, or Coca-Cola goes down, it's good news in terms of anything I buy. But stocks are going to go down. You could probably look it up as to what percent of the days since I was born they've gone down, and maybe it'd be 30% or something like that. And you can't predict what stocks will do, but in the short run. But you can predict that American business will do well over time. And just take the 20th century. Stocks went from 66, the Dow average, 66 to 11,497, and you were getting 3 times as much in dividends as the whole average was selling for at the start. And you had 2 world wars, and you had a Great Depression, flu epidemics, all kinds of things. American business will do fine over time, and if you own a piece of it, and if you don't beat yourself, the only person that can cause you to get a bad result in stocks is yourself.
And there's all kinds of things, compromises that people have to make in most jobs. There's nothing like working for yourself. I had 5 bosses in my life, and I liked all 5 of them. For one thing, I wouldn't want to retire at 65. I'd want to keep working. I think Charlie and I are in the most interesting game in the world. You don't need to be a genius in what I do. You need the right orientation. 90% of the people that buy stocks don't think of them the right way. They think about something that they hope goes up next week. And they think about the market as something they hope goes up. And if it's down, they feel worse. I feel better.
And you think about?
Pardon me?
And what do you think
I
about?
think about what the company's going to be worth 10 or 20 years from now.
So you really do have to learn to multiply yourself through other people. And it's very important to surround yourself with people that are better than you are. You are going to move in the direction of the people you associate with.
Never stop thinking about how to delight your customer. Not to satisfy your customer, but to delight your customer. And when you wake up in the morning, start thinking about it. During the day, think about it. At night, think about it, and then dream about it. And no company's ever failed that had millions of delighted customers.
The world does not belong to the pessimists, believe me.
We'll always have problems. I mean,
ever since I got out of school, I used to sell stocks. They'd always give me 10 reasons why you shouldn't buy them. And you've heard them all throughout your life. But you're selling happiness. And it's, and having it at arm's length away is a big part of it. And the distribution systems that develop, it's the right formula.
We've been able to associate with people that we really like. That's one of the luxuries of life. We made a lot of money, but what we really wanted was independence. And we could associate with people that we wanted to associate with. If we associate with jerks, that was our problem, but we didn't have to. We've had that luxury now for 60 years. That beats 25-room houses and 6 cars. That stuff is what really is great, is if you can do what you want to do in life and associate with the people you want to associate with in life. And we both had that spirit all the way through. It's a combination of patience and a willingness to do something that afternoon if it comes to it. You don't want to be patient about acting on deals that make sense. It's not a constant asset. It's not a constant liability to be patient. You can't be filled with self-doubt in the business. You just forget it and it's going to work. You don't want to be patient when things are going your way. When the time comes to act, you want to get it done that day. It's a terrible mistake to think you have to have an opinion on everything. You only have to have an opinion on a few things. In fact, I've told students, if when they got out of school, they got a punch card with 20 punches on it, and that's all the investment decisions they got to make in their entire life, they would get very rich because they would think very hard about each one. And you don't need 20 right decisions to get very rich. 4 or 5 will probably do it over time. Plenty of very wealthy people that their own kids wouldn't hide them. So I think if you're looking for one measure of success, just say to yourself, how many people would hide me? And there's a lot of people that never accumulate a lot of money or anything, but there's all kinds of people that would do anything for them. And that if you get to be 65 or 70 or 80, and you've got a lot of people that would hide you, you're a success. And it's really another way of saying a lot of people who really love you. And I would say that if you get to be that age and people are holding testimonial dinners for you, write them a check or naming business schools after, whatever it may be, and nobody will hide you,
think you're a failure. You want to have the right heroes, and you don't have to have them. It's not the heroes based on what they've accomplished. It's the people that you want to be yourself. And if you copy the right people, you're off to a great start. And I don't mean a great start about making money. I mean a great start about living your life.